right? So now this brings to the next topic, that is chemiosmotic hypothesis. Chemiosmotic hypothesis. Now what do you think this word means? Chemiosmotic hypothesis. Chemio, something related to chemicals. Osmotic, something related to osmosis. Hypothesis, something, some belief. Let's see. So chemiosmotic hypothesis has been put forward by Michel 1961 to explain the mechanism of ATP synthesis. So yeah, so this is a very simple diffusion that you see in here. The high concentration of ions, the low concentration of ions, and simple diffusion is taking place, like, right? Now, when electrons are transported through the Electron Transport System, that is ETS, the protons accumulated inside the thylakoid membrane, right? So this is the thylakoid membrane, the thylakoid lumen, and you could very well see how the protons have accumulated inside in here. Lumen of the thylakoid becomes enriched with the hydrogen ions due to the photolytic split of water. So you know water is H2O, and when the water breaks down, it will definitely give you two things, that's oxygen and hydrogen. And because of this, lots of hydrogen, the lumen of a thylakoid becomes enriched with lot of hydrogen due to the photolysis splitting of water. Now, primary acceptor of the electron is located on the outer side of the thylakoid membrane, which is there. The primary acceptor transfers its electron to the H carrier then. Okay. Now, the carrier will remove a proton from the matrix while the transporting electrons to the inner side of the membrane. And the proton is then released into the lumen while the electron will pass to the next carrier. And thus NADP reductase is situated, which is situated on the outer side of the thylakoid membrane. It obtains the electrons from the photosystem 1 and the protons from the matrix to reduce the NADP to NADPH state. And the proton gradient which is there, which was built, is broken down due to the movement of the protons through the transmembrane channel F0 ATPase enzyme, which has two parts, F0 and F1 particle. So because of that, the gradient of the protons is broken down. The rest of the membrane is then impermeable to the hydrogen ion. So this F0 will now come in picture. It will now provide the facilitated diffusion to this hydrogen, that is the proton. And as proton moves to the outside of the ATP, they bring about conformation changes in the F1 particle of the ATPase and coupling factor. So ATPase, or we also call it as a coupling factor. And the transient F1 particle of the ATPase enzyme form ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. You know, ADP plus inorganic phosphate gives you ATP. So here one molecule of the ATP is formed when two protons pass through the ATPase. Students, isn't it interesting? So this is the ATP synthesis through the chemiosmosis. You got to know that, you realize and you understood that how ATP is synthesized through this osmosis, this chemiosmosis, wherein who was the hero or who was the main character? Main character was the proton, hydrogen proton.